From your research, it looks like you're really diving deep into Cane Corsos and Boerboels, huh?
Two breeds that, well, they definitely make a statement.
They're not exactly known for blending into the background.
You got that right. Powerful, loyal. We're talking dogs with history and presence in equal measure.
And from what I'm seeing, you're not just skimming the surface here. You want to get into the nitty-gritty. What makes them tick, what makes them different, and really most importantly.
Which one, if either, would be the right fit for you?
Exactly. So we're going to try to help you figure that out.
It's all about the details. We can go beyond just calling them big dogs and really dissect how their history, how they were bred, even their size.
Yeah. One article brought up that weight difference, and it's not insignificant. Okay, so a Cane Corso, we're talking 88 to 110 pounds. That's no small fry.
No kidding.
But then you've got Boerboels potentially tipping the scales at 180. Now that changes the game when we're thinking about things like, where you live, how much space you've got.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, can you imagine a Boerboel trying to navigate a tiny apartment?
Versus stretching out in a house with a yard. It's not just about aesthetics either.
Yeah.
It reflects where these breeds came from.
Right. Cane Corsos, they're from Italy, and they were bred for, get this, both guarding and hunting wild boar.
So they needed that agility, that speed.
They had to be able to work in all sorts of terrain.
But makes a lot of sense when you consider their reputation for being, well, intensely loyal and protective.
Intense is a good word.
One article even used the phrase Velcro-like devotion, which I thought was interesting. How does that actually play out in a Cane Corso? What does that look like?
You're talking about a dog who thrives on being close to their people. Their whole world revolves around their family. They're hardwired to protect their pack, And don't get me wrong, that's an amazing quality in a companion.
Of course.
But, and this is a big but, it means you absolutely have to nail those early training and socialization.
Because that loyalty, if it's not channeled in the right way,
it can manifest as possessiveness, even overprotectiveness.
So that's the Cane Corso, always on, always alert, the ultimate guardian. And then we've got the Boerboel, described in one article as surprisingly calm and reserved, which, when you consider how big these dogs get, it seems counterintuitive. How does a dog that size end up so chill?
Sure. Well, it goes back to their roots, right? South Africa. Boerboels were bred to guard homesteads, often left alone to, defend against some pretty serious predators.
We're not talking about raccoons getting into the garbage here.
No, we're talking lions, baboons, formidable opponents. And that's where their independent thinking, their adaptability, even what some call adaptive intelligence comes in.
So they're not just reacting instantly, they're assessing the situation. Is this threat actually worth my energy?
Exactly. And that's a big point of comparison when we're talking about these two breeds. It's not just about intelligence, it's about how that intelligence shows up. Cane Corsos, they're used to working closely with humans, so they tend to shine in obedience training.
So someone who pictures their dog, mastering commands, doing some tricks, a Cane Corso might be a more natural fit.
Yeah, you could say that. But that's not to say Boerboels aren't intelligent or trainable. They're just wired differently. Their intelligence is more about problem solving, figuring things out, adapting to new places,
And that independent streak we were talking about.
Exactly. They might not be as motivated by, performing for treats.
But maybe that makes them a more adaptable travel companion.
Oh, absolutely. If they were bred to think on their feet, I can't imagine a change of scenery would faze a Boerboel too much. And this actually ties into their exercise needs, which might surprise some people.
Because even though the Cane Corso is smaller, they still need a decent amount of structured exercise.
Oh, yeah. We're talking a good 30 to 60 minutes for a Cane Corso. Not Boerboels. They're powerful dogs. They need their activity, but it's less about structured exercise, more about just having space to roam.
So it's not enough to just have a big backyard. You need to be an owner who can match that energy, give them that mental and physical outlet.
That's it. Think of it this way. Cane Corso, they're like a sprinter, bursts of energy, love a good sprint.
Okay, I like that analogy.
But the Boerboel, more of a marathon runner.
Long, steady stride, just checking things out at their own pace.
You got it. Give them a good hour or two each day of real exercise. We're talking long walks, hikes, maybe even swimming if that's their thing.
Some Boerboels love the water. But it made me think of that one article that described them as being surprisingly mellow indoors. Almost like they save up all that energy for, the big adventures.
Exactly. It reminds us that with these breed characteristics, there are always exceptions.
Right.
And that's where you, dear listener, you come in.
Because We could talk about these breeds all day long, but
But the right breed ultimately depends on you, your lifestyle, your living situation.
what you're realistically able to provide for a dog.
Exactly.
It's almost like we're giving you all these pieces of a puzzle.
And you get to decide how they fit together to create, like, the picture of your ideal dog.
Your future best friend.
Exactly. So I'm curious, what's resonating with you so far based on everything we've talked about?
Like, for example, if we're picturing an active family, maybe with older kids who are, you know, comfortable around big dogs, that Cane Corso energy might be a perfect match. That desire to play, to be close.
To be part of the action, right?
Whereas maybe someone with a lot of space who's, maybe got a bit of a calmer energy themselves, enjoys a nice long walk, a Boerboel could be incredible.
Oh, I love that image. Just these leisurely strolls through the woods, the Boerboel just calmly sniffing every little thing.
And their owner, totally content, just enjoying that peaceful companionship.
Their big, lovable shadow.
But, like you said earlier, this is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, we're just scratching the surface here.
We're giving you a foundation, but nothing can replace actually meeting both breeds.
Seeing them in person.
Experiencing that energy firsthand.
So get out there, find those reputable breeders, talk to owners, pepper them with questions.
And don't forget about rescues. There are breed-specific rescue organizations out there.
Absolutely.
You never know. Your perfect match might be waiting for their second chance. It's easy to get caught up in the practical stuff, right? Like how big they get, how much exercise they need, making sure you've got enough chew toys to keep them occupied.
Right. Got to get those tails wagging.
But there's this whole other layer we haven't really touched on yet.
The emotional side of things.
Yeah. We've talked about history, instincts, but what about the kind of bond you're looking for in a dog?
That human-canine connection is huge.
Absolutely. Because it's not just about, being able to handle a large breed. It's about that heart connection. Like we talked about how much Cane Corsos thrive on closeness.
They really do.
One article even called it like Velcro-like devotion, which I got to say I kind of relate to. But what does that actually mean for someone who's thinking about a Cane Corso?
Well, it means that loyalty we were talking about. It runs deep. Cane Corsos, they crave being close to their humans, being in the thick of family life. It's like they want to be part of everything you do.
Exactly. And that's incredibly rewarding, but it's also something potential owners really need to be ready for.
So probably not the best fit for someone who's looking for a dog that's, more independent.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. Cane Corsos, they need that connection. They need to be part of the pack.
Whereas with the Boerboel, maybe their emotional intelligence comes through in a different way.
You could say that. Remember, they were bred to handle things on their own, to be, the calm in the storm.
Right.
And they're actually known for being incredibly perceptive dogs.
Yeah.
Like, they can read their humans really well. They offer support in ways that go beyond, like, just barking at the door.
So instead of that constant, Velcro closeness, it's more about them sensing when you need some comfort, maybe. Or a playful nudge to lighten the mood.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's a different kind of connection, but no less meaningful.
I love that. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground.
We really have. From the history of these breeds to, how their temperament plays out in everyday life. But I think more than anything, I hope we've given you a lot to think about.
And hopefully sparked even more questions.
Because finding the right dog isn't about checking boxes. It's about, like, really looking at your life and finding a dog whose energy matches yours. A dog whose emotional intelligence complements your own.
Whose needs align with what you can provide.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this deep dive has, completely changed your perspective, opened up some possibilities you hadn't even thought of.
That's the beauty of learning.
It is. So, until next time.
Keep those tails wagging.
Keep those ears scratching.
And happy exploring.
On your quest to find the perfect pup.